So for those of you that are paying attention, you will realise somehow I have managed to change my clothes. And this is simply because when I recorded this and I got to the bottom of the control section in the flight settings, in my edit, I was editing it and I realised that when I moved on to the next subject, I actually forgot to go into the assist and the AR. Okay, so that's always why it's good to, when you do your edit, to go through twice, 3 times, or even 4 times, because you always miss some stuff out. Anyway, so we've gone down the bottom and we've looked at the GNSS in terms of the satellite positioning. The next item in terms of the flight settings is the assist. So here we are. So you click on that button and you've got a number of things here that you can toggle on and off, but really all of which I keep on for safety measures. So what you have here, the top one is your vision assist. So when enabled, vision sensors, which you'll see on the front of the aircraft and the back of the aircraft, to give you that 360 degree, and also on the bottom as well, those fisheye sensors. When enabled, video sensors live view will be displayed in the lower right hand corner of your remote control. So from your fisheye sensors, I'm just going to click onto the screen. It's in the bottom right. It's this here. It's this black and white view. So with this view, whichever direction that you are flying in, that will be the view that is displayed. So whether you're going in reverse, or maybe you're going forwards, or to the left, or to the right, or that double arrow which is looking down. And then if you wanted to fix on that, then you just click and hold one of those arrows. And there's a bit more detail in this and the icons in the vision display area on my master icons, or master the icons for the RC+2 remote control. So if we just go back then into that menu, so here we are. So we just touched there on Vision Assist and how that works for you. The next one is camera scale. So when enabled, you can quickly measure distance to objects at screen center with the laser rangefinder. Right? Everyone loves the laser rangefinder, and that will be in the center of that screen there on the camera view. So you can press the RNG button, and that's on the left-hand side of the remote control. So you press that, and there we go. So it's saying now this blade of grass that's here, there we are, my finger, is like 9.2 meters away. If I move in front of it like this, you'll see that changes now to like 7.5 meters. And I come forwards, right, it changes still like 6.5 meters. So that's how good the laser rangefinder is. And I've done a number of videos in terms of going up to about a kilometer, 1.1 kilometers, following vehicles and stuff, which is really cool. And that distance also comes up on your map. So when you have the laser rangefinder enabled, you'll see the little circle there, the red circle, which is the center of that laser rangefinder. You can't fire any missiles from the Matrice 4E. Not that I want to, anyway. There we go, so that's excellent. And also in the bottom left, it tells you from the laser rangefinder your ASL, so you're above sea level, and also those two white lines on either side of the laser rangefinder are that sort of autofocus area. But again, I've done a big video on this, so I'll link it into the description and also into the info card on this video for you. So let's click back in the menu button. So there we are. So that's with the camera scale there. And the next one is really useful, actually, which is the remote controller orientation prompt. So when enabled, okay, well, I don't know where it says toast. Maybe it's to assist. So when enabled, what happens is on your camera, on your map, you've got there, you see a little green remote control icon. And that means that I am facing the drone. And if I look up, like I am now, I should actually be able to see the drone. And I can. So I look up and I can see the drone. It can change if I was to just rotate you will see there now, actually it's turned blue. And that means that when I look up, I probably can't see the drone. And this is really useful because when you're doing a mapping mission and your aircraft is flying back and forth along a route, you might for a second be thinking, looking down at the screen and then wondering, oh, if I look up, where's the aircraft? Or you may have heard a helicopter like, oh, where's the drone again? And this gives you a really quick prompt as to where the drone is and whether when you look up, you're going to see it because you've got it in green there. Let's take off the laser rangefinder. And we'll go back onto our menu here. Right, so this is something at the bottom here you'll see about terrain data. This is something that a lot of people had asked. And I want to show you where this information is. So at the moment it's converging altitude data because, let's have a look, I haven't set up my Wi-Fi. So that's fine. I mean, I'm not really that concerned about it. I'm going to switch that off. I don't need the RTK. I'm not doing any mapping. So that's fine. It won't be bothering with that. So you click on the three dots and terrain data and click on the eye icon. So what it says here is that terrain data will be distributed from the cloud. So the drone receives terrain data from the internet from a DJI server to the aircraft to increase efficiency and safety when the aircraft is performing its flight tasks and its return to home. So within Flight Hub 2, you'll notice that when you scroll around with your mouse, you can see the location and then of where the mouse is and also the ground elevation data. That's the data that it's using, the sort of detailed data. And that's the terrain data. And then you've got the global elevation data. And you click on here and it says, when enabled, the aircraft will obtain terrain data within a 20-kilometer radius of the aircraft. So from here, it's pulling, much like on Google Maps and stuff, but it's pulling terrain data, the detailed data into the drone so that it knows the ground, roughly the ground elevation for the drone when it's flying. And you've got the data source here. There we are. So you click on that and it shows you here what the detailed data is that the drone is using. And it's all detailed there. So actually it says here, oh, it's using copyright sort of Airbus defence space provided by EU and ESA, which is really, really interesting. Yeah, so I was just chatting to a nice lady there with her dog. Everyone's really like interested with the drones and stuff to see what it's doing and just the cameras and stuff like that. Everyone likes it. Never had any issues with it whatsoever. So yeah, this is really important, this terrain data, and this is where you can set whether you want it to import all that data from the internet and that global elevation data as well. Also, what happens if you're flying a mapping mission and you process it on the remote control and do like your local mapping, which you can do, and if you upload it onto Flight Hub 2, what happens is that all that data that it gets, particularly from the 3D modeling, it then syncs back into the remote control and the aircraft. So even though you've got that global elevation data for what's around here, probably doesn't take into account the trees as such. But when you do a model of an area and you've got that overlap, or even possibly 2D, and it overlays that onto Flight Hub 2, and remember this is all free, it will then take that more up-to-date data along with that detailed data when you fly in the same area again. So it's super efficient and very sort of clever.